Hello. I'm recording this for McPherson County Families to tell you about something exciting that's coming up, something that changed my life. And I really want to find you for you to be a part of it too, if you think that it could really help you build the life that you're supposed to have. In 2011, I was 7 months clean and sober off of a lifetime of addiction and drinking and trauma. In the fall of that year, I accidentally bumped up against the Poverty Project STEP MC in McPherson. And you know what did my life look like at that time? Well, we lived in the small hidden ghetto on the west end of town in McPherson. We were in a trailer house that should have been condemned. I had bought it for $1,000, right? It was the best defense I had between homelessness for me and my kids. But huge holes in the floor, no water heater, windows broke out. And my kids were 2, 4, and 7. And I can tell you that I was in college. I'd been in college for almost a decade trying to get a 4-year degree to be a high school art teacher. And I was working full-time as a bartender at the bowling alley. And, every single day I got up and I was exhausted, scared, ashamed, and angry, frustrated, right? Because I just kept running as fast as I knew how to run to build this life that I knew my kids were supposed to have. And it seemed like every time I turned around, another thing would happen, another crisis. And I just kept getting spun back, right? And a lady in the trailer park that was my friend, she said, "Hey, you got a little one. Do you know you can go to the Methodist church and get diapers?" I'm like, "What do I have to do for that?" And she's like, "Nothing. Walk in there. Tell them you need some diapers." Like, really? And I didn't want to go into a place and ask for charity. But diapers are expensive, right? So I started kind of going in there and frequenting that church to get diapers. And there was a lady in there, Lynette, and she was kind of in charge of that process. And Lynette just kind of took a shine to me. And every time I walk in the building, Lynette would light up, right? She learned my name. She learned my kids' names. She'd always stop whatever she was doing and just want to talk to me. She saw me. And one day I told her, I was like, "Man, Lynette, I'm sorry I have to come here and take, but I promise when I get through college, I'm going to give back to this ministry so that other moms can have this," right? And I just remember on that day, tears were in my eyes. Again, some of that shame and gratitude kind of all mixed into one. And Lynette just lovingly shook her head and said something, pointed to a flyer that said something about a class to get out of poverty. And I was like, my first thought was, what are these people going to teach me about getting out of poverty that I'm not already doing? And then I thought, man, I got so many diapers from Lynette. I better sign up. And I was scared. And she's like, "Oh yeah, there's going to be all these middle class people there for support, and kids have a family style meal, and they go to childcare," and like all that sounded horrifying to me. I didn't know how to have my kids in public successfully because there was a lot of meltdowns, and I was really afraid of being judged. And I felt like I was a defective parent and a defective person because I couldn't figure this stuff out. But I took a chance and I showed up that first night to the project and expected when I walked through the doors that there was going to be this middle class judgment, right? Like, look at your life, look at your kids. Here's where you're obviously messed up, right? People coming at me, judging me to fix me. I pushed through that door that first night, and there was probably like 60 people in a gymnasium. And these 3, what I considered powerful looking middle class women just came over and scooped up my little boys and acted like they weren't running amok, right? And after supper, they took me and about 8 other parents into a room and they sat us down and they said, "Look, here's the deal. We see families struggling in McPherson County, and we think the root cause of that struggle is poverty. And we want to solve it. And we need people like you who are living it to tell us what we need to do." And so instantly they disarmed me and they empowered me. And I left that first night blown away. Like I'd never heard middle class people talk about poverty like that before, kind of like they knew my story. And I went back the next week and the next week and the next week. And one of the first things I recognized and found there was that generationally middle class people and generationally poor people, we don't even speak the same language. And it's no wonder we're bumping up against each other and coming away frustrated and hurt, right? And then they started to talk about future. And they said, Rebecca, middle class people can typically see 2 to 5 to 10 years out. And I sat there that night and I couldn't see past 2 weeks. And so for me in this moment, as you sit here and listen to this right now, if any of this resonates with you, stop. How far ahead can you see? Right? The demands, the tyranny of the moment of my day in and day out experience was planning was painful, dreaming was not on the table, right? I thought about dreams and goals for my future. This thing crept up inside of me, but I can't even manage today. It's not for lack of trying. So I started to really kind of explore that process and the project and what it meant for my life. I graduated from the 18-week class and got matched with a middle class friend, a partner on my journey. And over the next few years, I had this team of people that cheered me on. They also opened doors for me and gave me opportunity. They gave me access, right? And in 2014, me and my kids got out of poverty for the first time in our lives. I later got to go to work for that nonprofit and be a part of helping other families, which was amazing. And over the past decade, we have gotten close to 100 families completely out of poverty. And I shouldn't say we have created space for families to come in and begin to heal and begin to build resources that transform their stories and their kids' stories forever. I get the shame of poverty. I get the frustration, the anger, the defense systems that we build in order to survive. I get the trauma. In 2010, I cycled in and out of hospitals with severe alcoholism, right? I didn't have a drinking problem, I had a stopping problem. Every time I'd stop drinking, I'd go into withdrawals, delirium tremens, DTs, and I'd end up in the hospital. And so when I sit here now in 2021, 10 years later almost, and I think about all the things that have happened in the home and the world and the atmosphere of my kids' daily lives, all of it comes back to this poverty project and community and the courage it took to walk through those doors that first night. And then the strength people gave me to really figure out how I could remove barriers and begin to build resources that would change my kids' stories. So as you think about this, we have classes coming up, and we only start them about once a year. And so I don't want people to miss this. In Lindsborg, we have a class that will start on June 21st. In Moundridge, June 14th, and in McPherson, June 17th. Getting ahead is an 18-week process, and then you graduate phase 1, and we ask that you stick around. If you found that you find us safe and important in your lives, then we ask you to stick around with us and help us to truly end poverty in McPherson County. First in your own life, and then at the broader community level, because we need you. We need you at our table. We can't solve poverty in our county without you. Your story, your experiences, and your wisdom, right? We have a strong belief that if we want to solve tough issues, we need to have people at the table who are experiencing those issues come and lead us, sit with us, grow us. And so I don't want you to miss this opportunity if any of this spoke to you. You can find out more information at stepmc.org. You can find us on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook. I'm like the only Rebecca Lewis-Pankratz in the world. Now I get to just be a part of being on the recruitment team for STEP MC. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm recruiting you to come and be with us. And let's build people out of poverty together, because I don't care what anybody has ever told you or the messages that might be in your head. You don't deserve to live in poverty. You deserve to have the life and the future that all of us are supposed to have. So hit us up. Also, if you know somebody that is just kind of struggling, they're running as fast as they know how to run, they're working their butts off, but they just can't get anywhere. Like, that's who this is for. Share this video with them. Reach out to us. We want to have a cup of coffee. Let's explore together if this is what you're supposed to be doing next. For now, have an amazing March, and hopefully I will get to meet you soon. Do not hesitate to hit me up in Messenger or find us on the internet. Blessings. Bye for now.